Welcome, everyone. I'm Kelly. Namaste. I'm in Arlington, Virginia, and just sharing today what kind of props you might need to set up for restorative yoga, a really great restorative yoga, and going to show you guys some tools you can use, props you can have around, and demonstrate a couple of poses. So if you do not own a bolster, I'll just demonstrate kind of what they are and how they work, and then show you the improvising. So here is the big rectangular bolster. There are good websites that have things like this. If you Google large rectangular bolster, you will find this on a website. This is very firm. So if you think about a couch cushion, if you have a thin one like this, about this size, kind of goes under your whole body, shoulders and torso. It's about that big. You know, if you have a couch cushion about that size, that would really be great. This one is for under the knees. But if you're on the not so tall side, this one might be too big. So this one's almost a little too big for me because I'm just 5'6". So you might want to use a rolled up blanket instead. On some days I can use this one. On other days I'm not as into it. My dog is dragging the blanket away. Okay. Hi, can I have that, please? Thank you. You're a good boy. So, all right. So I'll show you how to use these after, but first let me show you the improvising. If you take a blanket, oh my, he really wants the blanket. And, and you have it about kind of he thinks it's a game, the distance from your hip to hip, kind of the outside, and then roll it up really tight. So roll that up nice and tightly. This is going to be what goes under your knees. Okay, I'm going to put that on the mat. And then, no. And then Watson wants to give the demonstration. Show us how to use it, Watson. No, that's not exactly how. Nope. It's not exactly how. Okay, I'm going to put this. Maybe this isn't the blanket to use. So I'll roll up another one. So that's one rolled up blanket for under the knees. Then eye pillow. If you don't have an eye pillow, just find a thin kind of tank top. Black is great because it is darker. I just grabbed this red one because I've used it before. And that's going to go across your eyes when it's time to be, in a restorative position such as Shavasana or just doing a great restorative practice. There are so many ways to use the blankets. So if you have a yoga blanket, great. Any other blanket is also fine. One of the great ways to use these, so if you don't have the rectangular one, is to take the blanket about that way, the size blanket, whatever blanket you have, and however you can kind of roll it up like this. So I'm just rolling it really tightly from the top to the bottom, kind of bringing my hands up and down the sides of it so I can create, kind of a nice bolster that's just a little bit thicker than the spine. And then what I'm going to do is lay on that tailbone here and then lay straight back. So that is going to be nice and supportive along the whole spine, and just allow your whole spine to relax into the bolster, being really supported. And then the shoulders open and the heart opens, and then everything just dissolves into the blanket. Okay, so we have our eye pillow. We have our bolster. We have the blanket under the knees. It's not for you, Watson. So that's one basic pose I will show you. Where did I put the eye pillow? Okay, it's over there. Great. So he's probably going to attack the blanket. I wouldn't have a hyper beagle around me during Shavasana or restorative practice. I would have the lights down. Hi. He's a good boy. So you're going to bring that right under the knees, right underneath the knees, right? The blanket kind of goes right up underneath it. And then you're going to bring this blanket right to your tailbone. So first you're sitting up, the blanket's right on your tailbone, and then you're going to lay back with your eye pillow and put it right over your eyes. Arms alongside the body, just absorbing the bolster underneath the spine. It feels so great. I don't want to move. So that is a really great Shavasana. So if you're taking yoga, please figure out a way to get nicely set up for Shavasana. So if you're taking a restorative yoga class and you're wondering, how do I set up for those poses if I don't have a bolster? So if you had the big rectangular one, for example, for child's pose, you would have that big rectangular bolster, kind of square edge right here, or thin edge right here. And then you would exhale, kind of walk over the whole bolster and lay over it, like resting on one cheek. If you don't have that bolster, I would say the firmest pillow you can find in your house. I have one of these Tempur-Pedic ones. And then anything to give it height, right? Another pillow. Maybe I need 3 pillows, again, because that bolster is so firm. We want to have it so that we can bring, if I was laying here, that bolster would be kind of coming right into the lower belly area. You're going to have that there. You're going to sit up tall with the knees kind of out on the sides of either bolsters or big pillows. And you're going to walk the hands forward and then soften over the pillows, the bolsters, whatever you have. Rest on your left cheek. And allow the body to soften here. Breathing in. Breathing out. You guys are like, we don't need the breathing demonstration. Sorry, I just wanted to do that because it feels good in that position. Okay. So this is for you. So let's keep it going. Another position we do a lot of times in restorative yoga is supine twist. So in that position, we're actually going to drop our knees over to one side like this. And we want to have, so that big thick bolster would be too thick. Normally it's like 2 or 3 blankets, I want to say. I'm going to do 1 pillow and this blanket and just see how that feels. Actually, I think it's a little thin. You can already tell. Maybe just for me, I don't know. It just depends on you, and I'll show you what that means because you're like, I don't know how thick it should be, like for this restorative pose I've never done. But when you're laying on your back and your arms are at cactus arms, relaxing deeply, taking a deep breath in, taking a deep breath out, bringing the legs over to the left. And you're bringing your gaze over your right shoulder. And you're simply allowing yourself to relax. So what I'm noticing here, like I said, what's good for you is that there's a little space underneath the right leg. The right thigh is hovering over the left thigh. So what I want to do is take a blanket, and I think this might be fine, this height, And I'm going to put it kind of like right in between the thighs so that the right thigh has something to rest on, because we want every part of the body to feel like it is supported and it is set up in a good way for some like deep, nourishing relaxation. And if you have a body part that's just kind of like hovering in space, it's like it's not going to let you completely relax. So see here now with my legs dropped over and this blanket in between my thighs, that my top leg is going to continue to drop to the earth and drop to the blanket. So that's one way to set up again. No props, just using what you have around your house. So we also do restorative yoga poses like a forward fold. So you would take, again, maybe probably a thick pillow or 2 pillows. This is 2 thick pillows, so that might be too many because I'm going to try to fold over the legs, letting the toes just relax, and then bringing my head to the, actually, this is a good height. I like it. Bringing my right cheek to the pillow and then folding over it. So at first you're kind of like, where do my arms feel good? Some people kind of tuck them under. I think my head is actually needs to be even higher. What can happen here is that these very new poses that are, again, supposed to be deeply relaxing and nourishing, you stay in them for 10 minutes. Sometimes just feel frustrating somehow. And I think it's the mind grappling with finding a perfect way to be in a new shape and then staying there and softening and opening and deepening to the experience and allowing yourself to be and to have that experience, especially those people who do a lot of vinyasa classes and not a lot of restorative classes. So yeah, that feels good here. But if you notice that you've tried a couple things and it just doesn't feel right, just see if you can stay there a little bit longer until perhaps it does start to feel right or it does start to feel better. So those are a couple of different ways that we can use blankets, pillows, bolsters, things around the house. And then I want to show you the difference with bolsters. So the reason I do think this is amazing, and this one is really the one to invest in, is oftentimes after I've had a long day of work and I really just want to have a little reset, I'll shut the light off, before I go about the rest of my evening when I finished work, and I'll bring my bolster right to my tailbone. I'm going to press it down with my hands a little because this action of just like rounding or dropping the back on it isn't exact. It's like, it's a little bit of a science with this bolster. So you kind of press down with your hands and you gently get that lower back on the bolster. And you can see I have my feet together and knees out because I want a hip opener too. Arms alongside the body. And then this is so supportive. It's firm yet soft, and it's underneath my entire head. The neck will start to relax here towards the bolster. The shoulders will start to relax. And the whole back just feels really supportive. So that's that situation. Same thing with this maybe big bolster under your knees. And then you might want to put a blanket over your body. Again, I forgot to mention that. So many options. It's really like whatever works for you. So again, see how big this bolster is under my knees compared to that little blanket. I tend to like it. It kind of works for me. My feet are really floating there. So some people, if that happens, like to also put either a stack of books or blocks like under their heels. And when you take a restorative classes or class, teachers will also make sure you are set up and answer any questions you have. Quietly coming around the room and kind of whispering to help you out. So again, you might want to cover up the feet. Once the body starts to really deeply relax, it actually totally cools down. So again, hands to the back to gently lean my back down, and then my eye pillow, arms alongside the body. Now another thing you can do here is actually make extra props for your arms, because my right arm feels like it's dropping off a building, reaching way down, and this other one feels perfect. So if you really want to be set up like Cadillac style for, again, like a juicy Shavasana or a restorative pose. I wish I had a clicker to shut this off now. This is where it's at, people. So as someone who also, does a lot of vinyasa, has that go, go, go lifestyle, I do take time. I do take a lot of time to generally, take that bolster out 3 or 4 times a week after work. And then just as I said, lay over it, maybe with all the bells and whistles or maybe just the bolster. You can do the same thing with blankets. So I was hoping to go to 15 minutes. I went to 16. Oops. But that's my tutorial. Ask me any questions you have, and namaste. Be well.